is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Hangin with the Talkin Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Welcome to our special show. And by special, I mean that in so many different ways.
What a lead-in.
Our special show.
Welcome to the short straw, guys.
There you go. Hanging with, let me read this right. Hanging with Talkin Cowboys break.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Shannon
That's a mouthful.
Gross, joined by Brian. Brought us to my left.
Thank you.
To his left, we got Rowdy Rob Phillips. And to his left, we got Dave.
There you go.
There we go. Tiny Jim. How
Tiny
you doing,
Jim.
Dave?
I'm awesome, man. How are you?
How was vacay?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good.
Yeah?
You know, most good vacations aren't very relaxing, so
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel.
Did you guys have family truckster were you driving around in?
It was a Kia Frontage or something, I think. I don't remember. It's a rental
Wow.
car.
Crammed in a car with your family on a
Family
cross-country
time.
trip
Love
for a
it.
week.
Jim.
Sounds awesome.
He's going to see him again tomorrow.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good planning in the Hellman family.
Good times.
So you guys are probably wondering why we have this special show with
Yeah.
special people in a special location. We are in Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, and you can see the team is back over there behind Dave's right shoulder. So we are here talking about Cowboys U, and it's a really cool thing that Coach Garrett's done the last, probably 5-6 years?
Every year that I've been
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, last 5 years. It's brought to you by Texas Lottery. And 8 years is
I'm
what
gonna
Bean's
say
telling me.
longer than 5, yeah.
So basically they bring in area high school students, and the Cowboys players become coaches, and they coach these guys up, and after the games are all over, they play tournament style. After the championship game's over, the players and Cowboys coaches talk to the kids about life lessons and adversity that they've been through and faced, and it's really, really a cool deal. To me, it's one of the favorite things that my favorite thing that the team does. So we're here. Hopefully the plan is to kind of rotate talent on and off the set, and also hopefully grab some players and bring them over and talk a little football and talk a little bit about this event. So
I got to say, it wasn't the same without Jason Witten last year.
No.
You talk
Right.
about an animated guy doing this, being a preview of his coaching days, if in fact he becomes a coach one day. He gets into it, man.
All the guys do.
in a positive way. But, yeah, all the guys do. But it wasn't the same without his energy out there last year after he retired, quote-unquote, for a year.
You know, I think this is overall I like what Coach Garrett has done here with this, because if you look at what athletics does in guys' lives and ladies' lives too, you know, there's a lot of split homes, and I'm not trying to get deep here or anything, but there's a lot of single mom, homes, or, one-parent homes, and, there's a lot of adversity. And athletics is one of those things that kind of brings everybody together. Mm-hmm. And the fact if you can get maybe these players as brother, father type figures to kind of say, hey, listen, I was in the same boat you were. I was from a family in Michigan, or, you could kind of share ideas that, hey, don't give up your dreams, don't give up your hopes, go out there, use athletics to your advantage. And this is a great thing that players do. They get into it so much because they've seen themselves. They've seen themselves kind of be in that, wearing that orange jersey or navy blue jersey or purple jersey today, whatever. And they say, I'm glad somebody tried to push me along or help me along. So this is really one of the special things that this organization does.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys on this team, the Cowboys team, that have great stories, that have faced adversity, that have lost parents, that have fought through, Tyrone Crawford's story. Antoine Woods has a great story, just overcoming adversity. And anytime you can influence someone at a younger age and let them know, hey, you can overcome things.
You can overcome.
And you can be successful, and you can make it to the highest level.
Absolutely.
It's always a real plus. So,
absolutely.
Dave, you've done this for several years. What's your take on kind of what they do here?
That prompted me to kind of reflect on some of the stories that I've heard. And forget being an undrafted free agent or like any of that, surface level football adversity. Some of the stories I've heard at this event, I just, he's no longer with the team. Kyle Wilbur overcame some harrowing circumstances. I can't even do it justice. I don't want to misrepresent the story. I think you could probably find it online if you wanted to go look for it.
And I don't think any of us knew until he spoke to the kids that day.
And I think Jason Garrett really wanted him to, to kind of emphasize, like, hey, no matter what happens, you can overcome it. Obviously, Dak Prescott's a famous one.
Yeah.
We all know his story.
I just happened to wear the T-shirt today.
Yeah, way to go.
By the way, if you're not watching this, you're just listening, you need to at some point go check the live or the video version of this out, because this is the most motley dressed crew we've ever had. Broadus is in a T-shirt.
Brian looks
This
like
is Dak.
It's a weird
I'm
time.
in a sport coat.
Yeah.
Rob's in a button-down. Dave's got a pullover.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just all over the place.
Whatever. Thanks for drawing attention to it.
But we look good.
Yeah.
We look good.
Yeah. It's the content that matters.
It's eclectic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the content that matters.
Yeah, Anthony Hitchens, I believe, was adopted. Just, we always say it, and we're really privileged by the fact that we're in the building and we're around these guys a lot more than even most media. Like I said, they overcome stuff in their lives that go way beyond, where you were drafted or, maybe you got cut from a team or something. And so I think that's Garrett's whole point, is trying to impart that wisdom onto these kids.
Yeah, and right now they have one of the Wounded Warriors that actually came and spoke to the team last year after a practice, Travis Mills. I think he's lost one arm or both arms and both legs, and he's out there talking to the kids right now about adversity and what he's faced and things like that. So it goes a lot deeper than just football and a football tournament. It's life. So yeah. And big shout out to Chris Beam, Dave Ernst, Kent Garrison, Scott Purcell. The setup that they put out here was not easy to set up for us just to sit here and BS for an hour and a half. So thank you guys for setting all this up. So what are you, before we talked about the camp, let's talk a little football. We've only got one more week of shows. Next week we do our podcast, and then we take a break for about 3 weeks, and then we head to training camp. What are go down the line. What are you watching at camp this year, and what are you excited to see? Because camp's always fun because it's the unknown, and it's what you think might happen, but you don't really know, and there's certain people that look for certain things. What are you guys looking forward to?
I think, Shannon, one of the things that I always look from a scouting perspective of the depth of the roster. I'm always interested, because what's going to happen in training camp is you're going to lose guys along the way. And when you lose guys along the way, do you have enough depth to maintain levels of practice, high levels of practice? Are these guys who are backups going to be able to get in there and be starters potentially and all that? So my thing is, I always look at, who did they bring in? And how are they adapting? I talked about it when we did a little bit of a stand-up when we did the roundtable of how these guys that were the Randall Cobbs and the Robert Quinns, those guys, those veteran guys, how do those veteran guys come in and adapt? Because they've been a part of some successful programs, and now they're in a whole new system. And both those guys have really hit the ground running. I've been very impressed with that. I've been very impressed with the young guys. That they've got guys like a Reggie Davis met yesterday, got an opportunity, a wide receiver from Georgia, got an opportunity to run with the first offense. And what happens? Ball goes down the right sideline from Dak Prescott. He makes an incredible catch for a touchdown. See, these are guys, who is going to be those guys that step and allow the depth of the roster? And there might be those one or two guys that surprise you who make that 53-man roster that we did not think about at this point in time, but you need to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up depth, because I read an article a long time ago. Phil Mickelson's a notorious gambler.
Huge gambler.
And he won a prop bet at the beginning of the season when he bet on the Ravens several years ago.
Right.
And they asked him what his strategy was, and he said he would go down each NFL roster, and whoever had the most depth.
And
had the best backup players is who he went with, because like you said, you're going to lose players along the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rob, what you looking forward to?
Brian hit on a lot of good stuff.
Sorry about that.
Reggie
talked for Tech. 5 minutes.
I was rambling wreck there for a minute. Yeah.
Reggie Davis, that was a guy. I don't know if a lot of fans knew who he was until yesterday.
Right.
Number 11 out there, just going deep. Dak Prescott in red zone drills for a touchdown. It does speak to the wide receiver depth, and I'm impressed with that. The offensive line depth and the defensive line depth. Those are three spots I look at and say, when you go to camp, they're not going to be able to keep all these guys. I think there's 16 defensive linemen right now, and a lot of them are really talented. Guys even that were undrafted that might be able to make a football team, may not be this one. What I'm looking at the most, and when we get to Oxnard, is this offense with Dak Prescott. How much can we glean from Kellen Moore's new influence as the offensive coordinator? And the thing that I think is going to help Dak a lot is the continuity that he's got this year. Even with a couple new pieces coming in, I don't know if you call Jason Witten new.
Right.
But you've got him coming in to help this tight end group. You've got Randall Cobb, a veteran presence that I think you mentioned hit the ground running. I think he looks.
Boy, he's been great.
He looks like he's been here a couple years
Absolutely.
in this scheme.
Yeah.
And then now this receiver core around Dak is that whole Dak-friendly thing. He's got guys he's comfortable with now. You go back to camp last year, and it was a bunch of new faces, a bunch of new guys trying to make the team, trying to separate themselves, and it didn't really shake out until Amari Cooper got here. And once Amari Cooper got here, I think it made Dak more comfortable. It stabilized the rotation, and you're seeing more of a continuity level for Dak, which is so important for your quarterback. Michael Gallup in year 2. I think the pieces are set for Dak to have a really successful year this year, but it's got to carry into camp.
Dave?
What's left to talk about?
Nothing.
I mean, it's all eyes on the offense. I know what the defense is. Rod Marinelli's a legend. Chris Richard, superstar coach. We all know about that. There's Pro Bowlers at every level of the defense. They added Robert Quinn. They're cool. All about the offense. They brought in Kellen Moore. They believe in him. A lot of people don't think they should. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. We're going to get a look at the offense, not just during training camp practices, but we'll get 2 preseason games before we come back from the West Coast. Will it be better? Because the defense was good enough last year. It was top 10. Will the offense be better?
I think the hope, as a Cowboy fan, is you have to hope that this year that Kellen Moore is Chris Richard of last year.
Right.
That all of a sudden that
we've seen that it can make a big difference,
right? Yeah, we did. That all of a sudden, if you take personnel and you turn it around with coaching, then all of a sudden, and it's not a slam at the coaches that were already here. Chris Richard brought a different attitude, a different mindset, and you got to hope that maybe that Kellen Moore can do the very same thing.
The talent is on hand for. I mean, they don't have to be the Rams. They don't have to be the most explosive offense in the league, but the talent is on hand for them to be good. It'll be interesting to see if they do.
Yeah. Oh, we got somebody coming over here.
Coach Garrett
somebody
looks like
kind of important. We got to kick Dave off here.
Kick Dave off the set.
Yep. What's up, Coach?
Coach,
how are you?
Good to see you.
Well, welcome to the show. The ringleader of this whole event, Coach Garrett. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, Coach. So tell us, we were talking about the event, how great this thing is, and how it's one of our favorite things that the team does off the field. Tell us how this thing got started. Who was the brain behind this thing?
We've been doing football camps for a long time. When I was a player here with the Cowboys in the 90s, we did a camp at Capel High School for 5 years, and that was a long, long time ago. And for the last 17 years, we've been doing a camp very similar to this up at Princeton, where I went to school. We go back there. It's actually next weekend, where we do a very similar thing. Some high school kids who are playing football from that tri-state area up there come down, some of them from challenging environments, at-risk environments, many of them, all of them. And, we'll bring Cowboy players, Cowboy coaches, guys that I've played with and coached with throughout my life, and we come and we coach them up. And we've been doing that for a number of years. And then, when I became the head coach here, we said, well, why don't we do this in Dallas somehow? And why don't we do it with our own players? So 8 years ago, we kind of put the Dallas Cowboys version of it, the Cowboys U version of it together. And it's been a really positive thing. We take our last OTA day, OTA 10, and we do this. And these kids come from all over the Metroplex. And it's a great opportunity for our coaches, for our players to act as coaches. And this year we have 8 teams, so we have 2 head coaches per team. So they draft their coaching staff among their teammates. They put it together, and then they go coach ball. And hopefully by the end of the day, we've used football as a medium to impact lives and to make a positive impact on a number of these kids who are working their way through life. And one of the things I challenge our players with is you were sitting in these seats a few years ago. Some of you 5, 8, 10 years ago, and you were like these kids, and you had somebody in your life that helped you go in the right direction to achieve your dreams, and that's what our job is today. We have 5 or 6 hours with them. Let's make a positive impact. I'm naive enough to think that we can do that.
Coach, your father was a great influence on you, and you always talk about that, and I worked with your dad in scouting for 6 years, utmost respect. You had a situation at home where your family, football, but your dad took your friends, players, yes, anybody out in the yard and coaching them up and stuff like that. So football, it's life lessons. It's really, your family is football, but you kind of take that family approach here with these kids and kind of help them with life lessons and how important football really is in our life.
Yeah, football is the greatest game in the world, and there are so many lessons you can learn for life from playing this game. And, I would argue that's probably its biggest impact. There are so many people who are doing great things in our society right now who really attribute many of the lessons they learned to become who they are from their time playing football when they were young. And I understood that at an early age. Like you said, my dad was a coach. He was always instilling, whatever it is, a work ethic, a mental toughness, ability to handle adversity, to come back and respond. I think those are really important things in life, and that's what football is all about. So, again, it's a football camp. We're playing 7-on-7. It's the championship of the world, all of that. But at the end of the day, our players have an opportunity today to make a positive impact on kids. And I think they're taking that very seriously. They're having fun with it, and it'll be a great day for everybody.
How many players, is there a player on your roster that maybe sticks out, a story that you've heard of a guy on your team that those formative years, those high school years really stood out for them? Something that in their life that impacted them growing up playing football?
I would argue that every one of our players has a story, just like every one of us has a story. And the people that we had the good fortune to be around to help us go where we wanted to go are significant in our lives. I go back to my high school coaches, my junior high coaches. They were huge influences on me. And many of these kids have those same kinds of influences. Sometimes it's your mom, sometimes it's your dad, sometimes a grandfather, grandmother, aunt, uncle, coach, teacher. We all have an opportunity to have a positive impact on kids. And I think if you ask all of our players, they'll say the same thing. And we actually had some of our players answer that question, and we're going to put that up on the big screen prior to the championship game, because they reflect back and say, I had these aspirations, I had these dreams, this person had an impact on me, maybe this game or this incident had an influence on me to allow me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. They take that seriously, and I think they're imparting that on these kids today.
Yeah.
Do you think that you talked about the life experiences and that your players might have been in that chair?
Right.
Does it something that's okay? Now I'm using this as their experiences to try and help these kids. Is that really the whole message that hey, listen, I was in that chair where you're at right now. I mean, I know what you guys are going through right now, and especially with what society today, we have so many split homes and single parents and stuff like that. But these players, they get to be like brothers, fathers, whatever you want to say, a good influence on these kids.
Yeah, no question. They can make an impact on their lives. And again, I think our players relate to it because I think they were in these situations very recently. And the other part of this thing is most of the kids are football fans.
Right.
And, I told Dak Prescott, they know Dak Prescott more than Dak knows Dak Prescott. They know more about him. So it's a great opportunity to use your influence. And, I think the most important thing we can do in life is instill belief in someone.
Right.
Instill belief maybe they don't have in themselves, instill that belief in them as they go forward. And, the biggest influences on my life were people who believed in me more than I believed in myself. And they instilled that belief in me. That happened throughout my life. It happened to our players. And, again, we're trying to do that with our kids today.
One more question. We know you got to get back out there, Coach. Talking about character in these guys and their stories, I've heard that this is one of, if not the best locker rooms that a lot of these guys have ever been around. Was that something that you guys have focused on, or did it kind of just fall into place, getting the right kind of guys in here and everything?
No, we're very intentional on that. I mean, you've been hearing me say that for a number of years now. We want the right kind of guys on our team. Guys who love football, guys who want to be part of a team, willing to work, sacrifice, to do the things necessary to achieve what we want to achieve. And we're all a work in progress. We're all human beings. We're not perfect. But we want to be very intentional and bring great character to our team, the right kind of guys to our team. And ultimately, the championship teams that I've been around had that. We had great character on our team, personal character, football character. That's what we're trying to build. I think we have a team made of that. And it's fun to come to work, fun to coach these kinds of guys. It's fun for them to play with each other. These are the kind of guys you want to be with each and every day.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to work here. It's fun to watch all this taking place and the stuff you're building up. It's great, man. It's awesome to be a part of this organization. Yeah. So thanks for the time, Coach. We know you got to get after it. So
thanks for being here, guys.
Appreciate you.
Always a good thing, when you have a plan and he clearly has a message and a mission, and again, I talked about his father, Jim Garrett, who I worked with in scouting, and Jim is legendary in that area of taking kids from the neighborhood and instilling life lessons, football, whatever, that's the way things are, and I think that's he's doing things the right way to try and help things in our community.
Yeah, and you can say what you want about the on-field product and all that. But I'm a big fan of Coach Garrett and what he does off the field.
Sure.
A lot of people, he's got his sayings and his little cliches and things, but I'm a big believer in the consistency, the message, and just what he does with it. He really cares. You can tell that he cares about these guys. Marinelli's another example. He cares about these guys as people and not just as football players.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big fan. Well, welcome to the show. I haven't had the good fortune of meeting you yet. I'm Shannon Gross. How are you?
Really good. Travis Mills. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis.
Nice socks, by the way, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Just kidding. Can't feel it. How you guys doing today?
We're doing great, man. So I saw that you came out and spoke to the team last year after a practice.
Yeah, I just randomly was in the building, and I wandered over here.
And they just let you walk right out after
my
practice.
Gosh. When you have arms and legs, they let you just do whatever
you want?
Yeah, I was like, I'm supposed to be, and they're like, okay, go ahead. And I just walked out. Then Mr. Jerry was here, Mr. Jones, and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing today? I'm like, really good. I just figured I'd catch practice. He goes, oh, okay. Didn't ask me nothing,
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I was a guided tour, but it's really exciting to be here. And I was thankful when Coach Garrett reached out to ask me to come back and be a part of today. I'm actually only here for like 18 hours.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, I flew in I got in at midnight. My plane got a little delayed. And I'm back out at 5. I got an event back in Maine I got to speak to a company at 8 tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Jeez, quick trip.
Keeping you busy. Travis, okay, you talk about, though the message that you have. Again, you talk about you obviously your physical, your handicap stuff. You don't look at it that way. You're having fun with us right now, and we're looking at it. But the message that you want to these young guys as they're in a group and you're peering into all their eyes. What are you seeing and what are you trying to convey to those young men and some ladies out there that are listening to you as well?
Oh, absolutely. So when I do my presentations, I go out there and I tell jokes. The very first thing that they're going to hear from me today is I walk out there and say, well, Jesus, stand in front of you today. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I hope I don't bomb this, because last time.
Yeah.
And I set the tone with like 5 opening jokes. So people understand, like, look, don't stare at just my injuries and my arms and legs being gone. Like, I'm a regular everyday person.
Sure.
And then I go through like how my wife and where I grew up and then leaving my daughter and my wife back in Fort Bragg so I can go on my 3rd deployment and hitting a bomb and then rebuilding myself. And just kind of talk about sometimes life is throwing curveballs, But you got to keep pushing forward and keep persevering. And I talk about perspective, my jokes and stuff. This isn't a facade. I'm just happy to live in a nation that honestly takes care of me. I have prosthetic legs. I have prosthetic hands. I drive where I want to drive. I feed myself. I do whatever I want.
Right.
And I kind of finish up with the last 2 life lessons that I like to tell people after I tell them my slogan, which never give up, never quit. I mean, it's on my shoes. New Balance makes my shoes custom for me. But
nice shoes, by the way.
Yeah, you got a mean shoe game right now.
The problem is when I get into the car, though, my foot will bend and my toes rub. So, like, the toe thing, I got like 10 pair of these. I should have put a new pair on. I feel like I'm slumming it right now. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
it's okay. Look
at me.
You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But my 2 life lessons I'm going to convey to them is, number 1, don't dwell on the past.
Right.
You can't change what happened yesterday, and you can't. For me, I can't change what happened 7 years ago. I used to close my eyes in the hospital bed and say, why did this happen? How can I go back in time? Hope, wish, and pray that it would. And then I just finally, after about 2 weeks, I was like, it's never going to change.
Right.
I'm never going to have arms and legs again like I used to have. And the sooner I realized that, and I realized I had 25 great years without, being injured. But I've had 7 amazing years after being injured. I mean, I have a wife that was with me when I got injured with my 4-month-old, and I left, and 6-month-old, and I got hit, and stayed with me. I told her she should leave, and she stayed. And then I had my parents, my in-laws, and everybody by my side, my family, and my support team. And now my wife and I, we run a big nonprofit called the Travis Mills Foundation. We bring out combat injured veterans and their families, and it started as an idea, and now it's grown to this one of the top 25 veteran service organizations in America out of 40,000.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's everybody's support, and I'm going to talk about that today as part of my presentation. And then I actually own an insurance company. I'm part owner of an insurance company. My motivational speaking I do, and that's primarily, and I own a lodge in a marina. My buddy and I were drinking whiskey one night, and I pulled my boat to get gas at this place, and it's like 46 cabins, cottages, and rooms on a lake with, at the time there's only like 100 boat slips. And I pulled up, and I was like getting gas, and the owner was like, hey, you should buy this. And I was like, man, why would I buy this? He's like, well, you should. And I said, okay.
How much?
And then he gave me the P&L list. I had to sign, like, I won't tell nobody. He gave me the P&Ls, and I was like, well, that's don't look bad. My neighbor was a buddy of mine. I just had met him like a couple months before that. I was like, hey, you want to buy a company? He said, yeah, sure.
Have you seen Ozark?
I haven't.
So they're in the money laundering business, and he buys the same thing.
You know what? I'm in the same business. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your foundation.
Absolutely. So my wife and I decided at Walter Reed we were given such love and support that we should give back. And when we decided that we were going to give back, we were going to do care packages. You know, like we were going to send stuff overseas that people wanted, not necessarily what people thought they needed, because we had a lot of, like, you know, socks and baby powder and all this stuff that got sent to us, which obviously I'm grateful for, and I thank them. But I sent, like, peanut butter M&Ms, Orbit gum, pepper beef jerky. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff that people, gummy bears.
Yeah, you're going the right direction with me right now. Yeah.
But then I went on these trips with the hospital, and I learned how to kayak and canoe. I went downhill mountain biking. They took me up 9,000-foot mountain, Mount Crested Butte.
Right.
And they, strapped me to this four-wheel bike, and they cinched me to the seat, and they said, "Don't die," and they put a helmet on my head. I said, "What do you mean, don't die?" And they pushed me down this mountain, you know. And I found out that I was able to do all this stuff, and I needed a non-medical assistant, which my wife's considered a non-medical assistant, to help because I can't put my legs on by myself yet, right? So, like, I need help with that every day. So my wife got to go on these trips, and a lot of spouses didn't, and the service member did. And I thought, well, geez, it was, I understand the funding's for the service member, and you got to get as many through as possible, but this isn't worth it to me without my wife and my daughter. Like, this, what's getting better and learning this stuff, being active with your family. So we brought some families up, and it went so well. We did it again the next year, and then we bought an estate, and we put like $2.5 million in renovations into it, and we opened in June of 17. 8 families per week. Is Elizabeth Arden. She's a cosmetic pioneer.
Sure. Sure.
She built this place in 1929. We've revamped it. We bought it, revamped it, and now in 89 families came in 17. Last year, 130 families, and this year, over 200 families. Unreal. And they come from all across the nation. They'd be physically injured, and we tell them, don't live life on the sidelines. Never accept, your injuries as your final bit of life. Always be an active member in society as well as your family, and get out there and do it. So we have them, like Mike Rowe. You guys know Mike Rowe, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has a show called Return to the Favor, and he came and built an obstacle course. So we have a high-rise obstacle course that Mike Rowe built and things like that. But it's just been a lot of fun. Yeah. And I'm always positive because I can't change it. And the second life lesson is I tell the crowd, or the audience is you can't control your situation, but you can always control your attitude.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, no arms and legs, but that's not going to define how I'm going to be. So I wake up, the first thing I do when I'm at home, I get in my wheelchair, go to my charging stand, my arm charges, I put my arm on. I go downstairs in my wheelchair in the elevator. I'm going to be honest, I don't go down the stairs. And after that, I am able to have my coffee with my daughter, Chloe, who's 7. And then my wife comes down, and our son, he's 21 months old. His name's Dax, so D-A-X, because the medics were Daniel and Alexander that saved my life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go.
That's awesome.
Yep. And my wife says we're done, and I said as long as I can prove I can still do it, I'm good. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so good looking.
You are good looking.
Handsome guy, yeah.
That shirt really brings out your eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if people, do you guys accept donations?
Absolutely. We do. And it's pretty fortunate when I go and speak to like Cintas or Lockheed Martin or Boeing. Usually they'll do a donation to the foundation and things like that. And it's going really well. But TravisMillsFoundation.org is that website. My website is TravisMills.org. I'm not as popular as you guys. I started my own podcast.
Nice.
The Travis Mills Podcast. And I bring it on and bring inspiring stories about people that have overcome adversity and things like that. And have a good time. We drink a little bit of whiskey, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's okay in Texas.
Oh, yes, we can. We can definitely.
We need to be on this podcast.
So we need to
M&M's and whiskey.
That works.
And I keep putting plugs for Basil Hayden every time. I'm like, so Basil Hayden.
No, Garrett,
that's my favorite.
No problem.
But no, I'm going to keep pushing forward, and we have some pretty cool things. Maybe a motion picture about my story coming out, and things like that, and then a TV show possibly. Think Duck Dynasty, but it's me.
Oh, you got a great personality.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
I feel like people, I don't want to just be funny looking, so I always try to tell jokes. So I can be funny too.
So you made a joke earlier about just wandering in here. How'd you get hooked up with Coach Garrett and the team and all that?
So from Jerry Jones's office across the way is Michael Wilson, and he has an office space, and I'm good friends. He's a huge donor of ours, wonderful guy. And he just happens. We went to the Cowboy Club for lunch. Phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah, it is good. Absolutely.
And then he was like, "Hey, I'm going to take you over here." And Sherry Kruger, who also works on the second floor, I think maybe with Michael. Either way, she knew Whitney's counterpart, and they were just like, "Hey, do you guys want to come in?" And we said, "Yeah." So I just I stood right in the doorway, and I was kind of staying in the back, and everybody's talking to me. And then before you know it, I'm talking to the team a little bit. Not much, but a little bit, joking around. I played a joke on Dak Prescott and Coach Garrett. And then they had me over to you had me over there under the goalpost doing a little thing for the team. Hey, guys, da-da-da, But
so you did kind of just wander in here.
Wait, what joke did you play on him?
The voice-activated hand joke.
Oh, okay.
Which you guys haven't seen yet.
No.
Because Coach Garrett said you got probably 5 minutes. So what I was going to do with the new guy is have him yell at my hand, tell him it's voice-activated. But I'm saving that for when I have high school kids later. And I'm going to bring him back up, and I'm going to tell him it's voice-activated. I'm going to say, oh, yeah, hit this button here, and the blue lights pop on, which is really just battery charge. Yeah. And I'm going to say open. You know, and when he says open, I'm saying, well, it's baritone soprano bass, so less feminine, more masculine. So I'm gonna bring Tristan Hill. I'm gonna bring Tristan back up.
This will be good.
And say, you guys remember how it works? Well, I didn't show the other part, and that way we get a good laugh and things like that. And then I think after I speak, I got about 20, 25 minutes at the most. Yeah. If I don't get all my jokes, and then I gotta get back to the airport. Yeah. My wife grew up in Frisco, though.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So that's my connection. So I guess I should say my connection here is I'm from Michigan. My wife was from Maine, and at 11, she moved down here because my father-in-law, who's with me today, over there in the blue, got a job in Texas, and then we met on MySpace because her brother was my medic, and she thought I was cute. I was 6'3", 275, and I had some really good supplements I was taking when I was in Afghanistan. Just crushing them. I was like, get at me. I had like 22-inch biceps. Yeah, I was. Yeah. Anyway, so we met on MySpace because she sent a MySpace friend request, and we started talking. I was like, hey, we should hang out. Yeah. And the first time we ever hung out, I flew to Dallas. I came back from Afghanistan, right, on my 18-day leave. I spent 4 days in Michigan with my family for Christmas, and then because I was on my 18-day leave, I flew into Dallas. She picked me up, never met her before, and then we flew out to our trip we planned to Cozumel. And then back, then she didn't chop me up, throw me in the ocean. Great. Back to Michigan we went for a week where I'm from, and then she went back overseas. I went back overseas, she went back home, and I came back, and then we got married.
Wow.
And this is our... Yeah, so we got married actually at the courthouse in North Carolina. A lot of people don't know that because in my book, I have a book out and stuff. Okay. It's called Tough as It Comes. Fortunate, New York Times bestseller. I only had to buy 1,000 copies. I can't give them away. But no, so that's what might get made into a motion picture. But so we've been married 11 years. The 21st of this month.
Man,
so,
that's awesome.
Congrats. Today, I'm going to ask you maybe a serious question here, though.
No, go for it.
Today's the 75th anniversary of Normandy, the landing at Normandy, and all you are brothers throughout, and the bravery that you guys shown. Can you talk about, though, a little bit, though, that and you don't want, I know you don't want to talk about yourself when you do this, but the courage, though, it's not for everybody serving. I mean, it's not. I mean, you guys are wired different, and in a good way, and just the attitude you have towards our country, the freedoms we have in our country. But if you could just talk about what your thoughts about, again, today being a special anniversary with
Absolutely. So have you seen Band of Brothers?
Yes.
So Band of Brothers was a huge motivator for me my whole life, as well as Saving Private Ryan. Those are my favorite kind of movies.
Right.
And you watch those guys and you're like, man, I want to do that. So I went to the recruiting station thinking like, well, it'll be an electrician or something that will give me something when I get out. And they showed me airborne infantry, and I was like, that's the one.
It? Yeah.
That's it.
Let me jump out of a plane.
And I didn't know this fact until I met Dakota Meyer, who's a Medal of Honor recipient. He lives in Austin, actually. He's on Teen Mom, but don't tell him I said it because he gets so mad.
No one listens to the show anyway.
Yeah, just like millions, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, but he told me, and I think it's a true fact, 85% of the military is basically who supports the 15% of the fighting force, the infantry. And I didn't realize that logistic-wise. But think about it. There's 53 players on a roster. I mean, right now there's more. Right. Not to break their hearts, but there's 53 on the roster. But look at this organization who all support these 53 players.
Right.
And I would say that the coaches and stuff would be supporting the players too. But, So yeah, but there's different ways to serve, There's people that don't go in the service, but they give back and they do great things. Like right now, everybody's volunteering to be here. That's giving back. That's a type of service. There's the police officers and the firefighters and the EMT and the teachers and the nurses. Everybody has their way of giving back. But yeah, I mean, to run into a hail of bullets is a little different, but it's so exciting. Oh, look, every day I had in Afghanistan, like my third deployment, firefights all the time. I was the first in a firefight, last out. I never showed fear. When I got blown up, in my head, I just kept saving Private Ryan when the medic gets shot in the stomach and he bleeds out and he's crying for his mom. And he's like, I don't want to die. And he's like, he starts yelling, Mom. And I'm like, my men will never see me do that. So when I got hit, I kept seeing that scene. So I was actually like, it's fine, whatever. Told the medics, you're not going to save me. Go save my guys. They worked on me anyway. And when they were working on me, one medic, I told him, hey, whatever happens is fine. Like he was kind of like, he was doing his job. He was kind of freaking out by saying like, you're going to be fine, sir. You're going to be okay. And he kept repeating it. It was like on auto repeat because that's what they're taught to do. But he was like, I was like, Doc, just do your job.
Right.
It's fine. whatever happens, happens. And I was never going to show, like, I wasn't crying out pain. And I have a documentary that actually had the medics with me and the guys, and they were like saying, like, on the helicopter, one guy was screaming out in pain. He had it right. He lost his right testicle. But, he was screaming out in pain, and I was yelling at the flight medic, take your helmet off, give my guys water. And I'm winking. I gave one guy a wink, said, you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. And they were just like, I can't believe, like. Yeah. But in my head, I was
amazing.
I was just like, I'm not going to show fear, I'm not going to. Their last thought, because I thought I was going to die. And not like be weird about it. I just seen a lot of guys unfortunately die for a lot less. But I didn't, and none of them can say I showed any fear, which is nice. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to. I was just like, whatever. It is what it is. Let's get it.
Wow.
Amazing.
One last question before we let you go. Switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Who's your football team?
So 100% honesty, right? I got 4.
Okay.
I got 4 that I root for, and here's why. So I'm a Lions fan because I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
There you go.
And if you ever watch Jeopardy, you'll notice the only team that never been to a Super Bowl or complete from one is that was Lions. It was a Jeopardy question. After them, it was a toss-up between, and you guys are going to get mad at me, the Cowboys, because they're always on TV, and the Packers. Because the Packers were the close one, right?
Yeah, right.
Like Lions, here, Packers, and I love Brett Favre, right? But then, and I'm not just saying to kiss up to you guys, I can always count on the Lions and the Cowboys to play on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You guys at this organization here, and you guys, because I'm not, I live here, but always are on primetime slots.
Yep.
Right.
And you want to watch the teams that are on TV, right? Like, I live in Maine now, so the Patriots are on TV all the time.
Right.
They're fun to watch. They're a winning team. But I'll tell you right now, you guys, I didn't know you guys had Cobb as well. You got Cobb. Yeah. You got Cooper, Witten's. Oh, I think your offense is just going to blow. I mean, like me in 2012 is going to blow up.
Yeah.
Saw what you did there.
Yeah.
You just made Rob really uncomfortable.
No.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I was hoping you guys could catch that because I can't. I have no hands.
Got it.
Either way, no. So it's the Lions. I love watching the like Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman days, but then. Yeah, a little rough patch there with what you're going on.
Sure.
Yeah. But now I think Dak. I told him last year, which it doesn't help this year. I said, throw to Cole across the middle. Yeah. Watch what Tom Brady does. Just throw it to Cole Beasley on third down every time, and he did. So he listened to me. I'm gonna give him a little more coaching, probably. For it. No,
nothing wrong with that.
Get in his ear today.
Yeah. No, I walked up and said, "Hey, Kitten Cat, how you been?" Who would say that to me? And I'm like, "What's up, buddy?" He goes, "Hey, what's going on?"
Well, awesome, man. Well, thank you for sitting with us for a few minutes, man. This has been
really
great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm excited for the season. I apologize, I didn't know about Cobb. I mean, right now I'm stuck in like the playoff season for the NBA and the NHL, but we're getting right to football. And again, TravisMills.org for all your Travis Mills needs.
There you go.
Thanks, you guys. You're all winners.
Blow them up. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we have no idea what's going to happen, but hopefully we'll still be in these chairs.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10. Free shipping.
The excitement of Dallas Cowboys football is back at AT&T Stadium.
The place is going crazy in Arlington, Texas.
Don't miss your chance to see the Cowboys live when they host their NFC East rivals, the Eagles, Giants, and Redskins, plus the Green Bay Packers and more.
Elliott works his way through and walks Watch the dog.
Single game tickets are on sale now. Get them before they're gone.
First and goal, quarterback sneak. Prescott pushes up the middle. Touchdown.
Visit DallasCowboys.com to get your tickets today.
The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Hangin with the Talkin Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
We are back. We got Dave back in the co-pilot seat over there on the end.
Hi, I'm back.
How's it going, Dave?
It's going real good.
Did you go take a break? Did you walk it off?
No, I was watching the games.
Yeah. This is the championship game now.
This is the championship game.
Us, right?
It looks like the green team and the gray team.
Who are the coaches? Who we got left?
I see Dak out there. I see Byron Jones, Travis Frederick, Jameis Olawale, Zach Martin. That's all these teams have like 8 coaches because they want the whole team to be involved.
The staff.
I forgot about that. They make their own picks.
Yeah.
There's some competitiveness there with that too.
Always, yeah. So I bet Dak's a team leader, and maybe Zach and Travis are together somewhere. Oh, Zeke Elliott just walked past us.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doesn't look like Zeke's coaching in the championship game.
No, hopefully we can get some of these guys on. Somebody will pull some of these guys over
Seriously,
here. We can talk to them. So
way rather talk to them than me, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was Coach Garrett was good today. I like Coach.
Yeah,
I like what he had to say, man.
Yeah, the whole thing, and I like the question. He has if you look at what he and Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, what they've all done is it has been really the right kind of guy, and that's, it's not to say they haven't had their bits of off the field stuff, that have happened that they're having to deal with. But overall, though, that you have to like what you've seen with the locker room, the depth. Mm-hmm. And again, the depth will be tested. It always is. Little at this time did we know that going into training camp that we'd learn about some disease that, that we never had heard of before.
Right.
So you never know what's going to happen. You always have to be. They look like they protected themselves with their roster.
But that's kind of what Travis just spoke to us about. That's that's curveball. Things that fly at you, you got to be nimble. You got to be able to adjust in any walk of life. And I think that's a message that Garrett tries to preach too from a football perspective. Yeah. So, and to your point, the influences Jason had growing up with his dad.
Right.
Here's an example. Miles Austin was a guy. That was honing his skills in the Garrett front yard, wasn't he, growing up? And so, that carries over to the Cowboys. It all kind of ties back into what the message he's trying to show today.
If you've never seen the Deep Blue on Jim Garrett, go check it out. I believe it's on our YouTube channel,
on
our website.
Yeah.
And it shows he just took anybody that would come and want to learn football and just get them to run routes in the backyard. And, that's
up in Jersey, in the Jersey area.
The epitome of a football family.
And Jim Garrett was an outstanding scout, and one of the great, and I wish we could show a video of this, one of the great passionate speeches ever made for a player.
You talk about this all the time.
Yeah, it was made by Jim Garrett about Randy Moss. And you had guys that were absolutely against Randy Moss, Chan Gailey, Dwayne Painter, the coaches, and you have Jerry Jones in the draft room with his glasses on the end of his nose, and Jim Garrett is in his last line, and I'll see if I can do this imitation. Men, this is not the Boy Scouts. This is the NFL. We need to treat it that way. And Jerry, that got Jerry's attention. But then Chan Gailey and them, this was kind of in that era where the Cowboys were struggling with the off-the-field stuff, and Jerry went the other direction. But the scouts, Jim Garrett, made a very passionate speech for Randy Moss. And I wish the fans could see that video.
Yeah, if you ever take a tour of the Star, right there outside the war room, they have the old scouting books that are open.
Yes.
And Jim Garrett has his scouting report on Troy Aikman.
Oh, yeah.
And has, it's all handwritten, and it's a sheet full of things, and it's really cool. So if you ever take a tour out here, make sure you
stop
check
by
out
the scouting office. You might run into Will McClay out there.
Maybe. So what are you guys hearing? What are you guys hearing about this team with OTAs? You know what I want to know about? I hadn't got to watch any OTAs. What's up with the running backs? How are these new guys looking?
Looking pretty good.
There's 2 of them.
Yep.
That's so hard. Running backs and linebackers specifically, I don't even like to evaluate
without
them
pads
on.
on.
Yeah, they're not hitting. Mm-hmm. Tony Pollard looks as fast as advertised. I do know that. You can see that in shorts and shirts.
Yeah.
But it's Gary Brown even touched on that yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, Pollard looks fast. I think he gets a bad rep for I think he can be more of a true running back than he got a chance to showcase at Memphis." And
he said something funny about Mike Weber. He's like, he'll have his opportunity when the pads come on because that's his game. He's not going to look as flashy running through arm tackles as Tony Pollard might. So it's tough to do that at OTAs, but training camp is not that far away.
Talking about Weber, we had our internal media days the last 3 days where all the guys come by in different stations, and we get that dude is built.
Yeah.
I mean, he is thick.
He is, but Tony, to Dave's point, Tony Pollard is known as the gadget guy, right? But if you stand next to him,
far from it.
He's a bigger back than Mike Weber.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's more of the traditional back at Ohio State. The first rookie minicamp day, he was standing basically at Zeke's locker, and I remember thinking, okay, he's a lot smaller than Zeke. Pollard is a well-built guy, and I think that's to Coach Brown's point that he can be a between the tackles guy if you need him to be. And they're not hitting right now, they're not tackling, but that burst through the hole, he's a dude to watch going forward.
And you know what, we kind of forget a little bit about Darius Jackson,
who's running second team.
And he's been running second team all the practices. And Darius Jackson is now 2 years removed from his knee injury that he had. He looks like a different guy out there running. So
he told me earlier this, or maybe it was last week, he told me this is as good as he's felt since he hurt his knee in Cleveland, which was 2-3 years ago at this point.
Right.
So I think I'm not trying to give or take away anybody's job, but I mean Darius Jackson, when he came out, he was a higher draft pick than Mike Weber. I know Mike Weber's the rookie, so he gets more of the attention, but it's a battle at training camp. Like, I wouldn't want to write anybody off in that.
They go long at that position?
I don't think so, because they're going to carry a fullback.
You're going to have to go short somewhere, though. Are you going short at quarterback?
Quarterback, yeah.
You're going short. I mean, are you keeping 4 tight ends? These are things they're going to have to work through.
How deep are you going at offensive line? How many of those
I'm always going to carry 10.
This is where the depth comes in. Because it's like, all right, where do you want to go long? And by the end of preseason, I hate to say this, but injuries will shake things out.
Yeah.
You'll be maybe depleted at certain spots, but we'll see. Running back's interesting, though, because I keep going back to it.
4.
We can talk about
with the fullback?
4 total. Sorry. 3 running backs and a fullback. Sorry, Rob.
We can talk about Zeke Elliott being spelled this year and Kellen Moore introducing some new concepts. The core philosophy is still Zeke and pounding that rock, and he's going to be on the field a lot.
Yeah.
But they do feel like they've improved the depth there, though.
You brought up Kellen Moore. We've heard all the players say the right things, front-facing the media. What are you guys hearing anything? Is Dak liking this situation?
Oh.
What are you guys hearing kind of behind the scenes?
He's been calling Kellen Moore literally a genius since he met him.
Dak loves this more than anybody.
Yeah.
Dak's been loving Kellen Moore since he was his mentor. A lot of people want to give Tony Romo that credit back in 2016. Dak has been saying for years it was Kellen Moore and Mark Sanchez that did the most for him.
Yeah.
And so that guy gets promoted into, the head job, and, he knows what Dak likes. Dak maybe feels a little bit more familiar with him. I'm sure that's a quarterback's dream. It doesn't mean it's going to work out. I'm very interested to see what it looks like when we finally get to, put the pads on. But I think Dak loves this move more than most, probably.
Yeah. I think he's really happy, to work with John Kitna. And I think John Kitna is a very much an attention to detail guy.
I'm getting kicked off for a Hall of Famer.
You want to take my spot?
Yeah, sure, whatever. That's fine.
All right. We got a Nick Eatman about to join the show over here. Just kidding.
No.
Someone that's got a little more airtime than Nick Eatman. What's up, Whit?
What's up, Whit? How you doing,
How are
man?
you? Well, we'd like to welcome to the show somebody that's been around probably as long or longer than most of us on this set.
I was on the staff that brought him here.
Were you really?
Wow.
Absolutely.
Nice, humble
Jason
brag.
Witten, what's up, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Broadus is going to be like, everybody took credit for it. They're like, hey, I was a big part of the reason. And I'm like, I didn't go to the 3rd round. So if all these guys really love me like that.
No.
Why wasn't I a first-round pick or second-round pick?
It's Bill wanted Al Johnson.
That's right.
And your tag was sitting on the top of that. We got to the 3rd round, and Jerry looked at Bill and said, we've got to take him now, don't we? And Bill goes, yes, we'll take him now. And I'm like, hallelujah. There goes our first. He was the last tag we had in that draft on the 1st round that was sitting on that board in the 1st round. Grade of 119.
Oh,
so you were in the 1st round.
What was draft day like for you? Was it just hectic? Was it stressful?
You were a young man, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 20. You know, I think all guys, we all probably think we're going to go higher than what you do. But, shoot, I just looked at it as like, is a dream come true? And, obviously getting drafted Dallas, legendary, Coach Parcells.
Right.
I knew it was a great opportunity for me, so.
he had a great vision for you as a player.
He did.
He really did. He knew, he'd been with Mark Bavaro and Howard Cross and some guys. And with Jason, when he evaluated him, Bill had some crazy evaluations. He didn't have a crazy evaluation about this guy. He had an understanding of what he could do. And I think that's why you always talk about how hard he was on you initially. The video about you running the scout team and the reps and stuff like that. But he had a great vision for a player. Let me ask you a question about this, though. You are really big on influencing. You are big on hands-on coaching. You love coaching. I mean, you love coaching. Man, we've seen, like Dave said, we missed you last year when this whole thing with your intensity of the way you coach. And, I remember like your kids at camp, put our hands in, and the kid, your son goes, integrity. And I'm thinking like, okay. So, but you influence not only your own kids, but you influence kids out here as well.
Yeah, I think Cowboys U is a great day. I think Coach Garrett nailed it. The organization nailed it when you decide, like, hey, we're going to have this camaraderie day.
Right.
I think you really, this is what it's about, right? Bring kids in here, have your players coach, be, intermixing with each other. And so it's a lot of fun. We didn't make the championship this year. We didn't have the best roster, and we didn't have the best coaching. You know what I mean? It's a combination of two,
Who was your assistant?
Well, DeMarcus Lawrence was my defense coordinator / I think he was actually head coach, and I was like his OC. But you know what? We stayed together. We didn't win many games, but we fought.
Which that raises a great point. People have been speculating for years that you have a future in coaching. You get a chance to come out here with kids, and you've been one of the best players in the league for so long. What is it like coaching and dealing with other people's shortcomings and trying to instill that, and then especially, you don't get the results you want. I mean, that's got to be a different feeling for you as a player.
Well, I don't have a ton of patience, so that's testing me. But I didn't need to go into coaching to find that out, But, I mean, you take a lot of things for granted, and that's what I think as a player, being a kind of a coach on the field, it's like, how do you communicate? Because guys don't see it the way you always see it, you know? And so it's a challenge of, ultimately, you're looking for them to have success. And so I just think it's if you can't play at that level, the next best thing is coaching it, and it was awesome to be a part of it and just kind of be around these kids. And I mean, man, if I was 16 years old and I got to be a part of this at this facility, it's an unbelievable experience.
Yeah. I've been wanting to ask you, since you've been back in the building, you act like you are really, really, really enjoying this, man. You light up when you walk in the lunchroom and you're talking to everybody. I mean, how is this different coming back? And are you looking at it in a different way, or you just seem to really be super energized?
Yeah. Well, there's like a lot of parts to that answer. I think first off, this isn't going to last forever for me. Mm-hmm. And so when you come back, a big part of that is, you do want to enjoy every moment of it. I think before I retired, there's a part of that probably affected me there towards the end of, you're fighting off some things that you feel like, whether it's a narrative or whether anything, it's like every day you're having to deal with that, of like, all right, when's the next, who's going to replace him? Okay, how long is he going to go? How can you still do this? Can he not do it as well as he used to do? All those things. Mm-hmm. And I always prided myself on, like, not allowing those things affect me. And I'm not talking about, like, whether it was negative or positive. I'm just saying just how you go about it. Yeah. And so coming back, I really realized, A, how much I missed it, how much I enjoyed it. And I kind of am motivated by this challenge of coming back. And it's more than just how many plays can you play, how many catches can you make. It's like this collective effort of, I'm enjoying being a mentor, I'm enjoying playing, I'm in the challenge of that, working out. So, it's all about relationships, and I'm in a good spot right now, and, see what happens here. And ultimately, it's about winning, you know what I mean? So it's like, everybody asks all those things. It's like, for me, it's like, well, it works itself out because I just want us to win. Mm-hmm. So where does that result in? How does that look like? It'll work itself out.
Yeah.
How are things been, now coming back, though, and with Kellen Moore? You'd worked, with Scott. And when I watch you guys, it seems like a lot of things that really good for you, the tight formation stuff, with the 2x2 kind of stuff where you can run routes from the inside of that. But how has that been, the transition from, say, Scott Linehan, who you're with now, to Kellen Moore being as the OC?
Well, I think you got to go back, right? I mean, so like 2011, 2012, maybe 13 there, this system your line wasn't as strong.
Right.
And so your passing game and what you know, Jason Garrett's always wanted to run the football. I mean, that's always what he's been trying to do. Games get behind, your line wasn't as strong there for a couple years. So I think when Scott came in 14, I mean, in 3 of those 5 years, you had a leading rusher, I believe. Maybe did Zeke lead the league in rushing last year in yards? I believe he did. He ended up that way.
He was close if he didn't lead it. Yeah.
So 14, 16, 18, 2 different backs leading rushing, right? So it's like, yeah, that's what you want to do, but then it's like, okay, well, if you're not scoring points, and all right, we want to see more. We want to see these different things, and I think just it's hard to manage all that, right? I mean, because we've also seen Scott have top 5 passing attacks throughout his career. So I think Kellens has a good understanding of we want to run the football, but we're going to do it a lot of different ways. The shifts, the motions, alignments, moving guys around, formations, dress it up a lot of different ways, and still having an attacking mindset, even though we want to kind of our identities through our run game. So I think Kellen's done a good job of that. He's natural. You know, he's natural in front of the room. He's a good communicator. He keeps it simple in the way he communicates it. And so I thought we're off to a good start through, 9 practices.
Do you think when going on the outside watch this, do you think you not being in the lineup was a problem for the red zone?
I don't know. I mean
you're such a great red zone player.
Yeah, I think it's
18 yards in.
I think it's just, I've studied our red zone and continue to study our red zone. And I think, when you want to be efficient there and how you're passing attack, a lot of that is just guys understanding coverages and being there in the right spot. So obviously a big body helps in that area.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think a lot of the things that we're trying to do now will make us a better red zone team this year.
I know we got to go, but that just raised I'm fascinated by this question. I'm curious, how did your time as a broadcaster change the way maybe you think about that, just in the sense of, when you're here, it's like, well, we didn't do this last year. We got to do this. It's so Cowboys-centric, and then you spend a year going to every facility, seeing how they do it, what they want to do. I mean, you had to cover an ugly Cowboys loss against the Titans. How did that change the way you view things at all, that you got to see how 32 other teams do
Absolutely
it?
Absolutely did. I think one of the things that I liked about that experience was I grew as a football player, as a fan, as a student of the game, because the ability to unemotionally go in and evaluate, very few can do. I mean, people will tell you as a scout, as a coach, as a player, when you evaluate yourself, you're looking at what you think you know or want to see. And to be able to go in and unemotionally evaluate it and see it and study it and like, hey, that's good. More teams should do this scheme. Or, this type of package. And then you see it carry over throughout the season. I had Chicago Bears in week 2. I'm fascinated by Matt Nagy and what he's sharing out there.
Absolutely.
And then to see that success come back in January, and you're seeing that team playing in the playoffs, it's my perspective changed. And I think kind of seeing the big picture of it instead of just, hey, here's the end I'm blocking, this is the coverage I'm looking at with the Giants. It really kind of peeled back a lot of things, notes that I have now. I think it's going to make me a better player.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you stopping by, Whit, man.
Awesome, man.
What's the name of this show right now?
Oh, my God.
Look down there on the left. Hanging with the
Talkin' Cowboys break.
We got a combination of a bunch of shows. It's like that club sandwich that Parcells used to talk about.
Yeah.
Stacked in there.
I like it. We were just like, we drew the short straws, and they were like, you guys have to go do this. So
you guys are studs. Let me get back on with you some other time.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Open invitation.
All right.
Appreciate you stopping by, Whit.
Thanks, Whit.
All right. Well, y'all want to take another break?
Why not?
Yeah, let's take a break and drink some water, and we'll be back here in a few minutes on Hangin with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to?
It's right above the subway.
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store and learn how to buy one smartphone and get a second one on us. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2018.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox? The makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crockpot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True. They even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thanks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
We are back live, Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Got a couple of new guests here on the podcast. Nick Eatman, which...
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Nick. How's the leg?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep. Broadus is still here with me.
I'm hanging.
And we'd love to welcome to the show George Teague. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Been limping around. I don't know if you guys knew I tore my Achilles and
oh no,
had surgery in January.
Man, you never got hurt. You never got. Now you get old man, you get hurt.
Well, you know, I was dunking on somebody and.
Is that how you got hurt?
Yeah, playing basketball.
We drafted George. We drafted George in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
It was one of our guys.
While you were there?
Oh yeah, he stole the ball in that championship game, and as soon as he did that, Ron Wolf said, "We got to draft that guy in the first round."
That's my favorite play that never counted, ever. Right? I think it was offside.
Not on the books.
But it was one of the greatest plays you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because Lamar Thomas was supposed to be the fastest guy ever, and he might have been, but George not only fetched him, but stole the ball, pushed him down, showed it to the world, and it was offside. But it didn't matter.
that helped me get drafted.
That's what I'm saying. At Green Bay, we were all just drooling. Like, he number 13 made a lot of plays at Alabama.
Yeah,
he sure did.
What are you doing these days? What's going on with you?
I am the athletic director and head football coach at John Paul II High School in Plano.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, after I retired from the Cowboys, I went straight into high school coaching 2003 and been coaching ever since.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is this your first trip to Cowboys U, or have you been out here before?
No, this is about the 7th or 8th.
Oh, really?
From the beginning.
It's Shannon's first year.
Yeah, Shannon's first year hosting the show. Yeah. But have you got some kids playing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I brought 9 guys out.
Okay.
This time.
So what George is doing is getting a little 7-on-7 work here early, and then he's going to take these kids back to his nice facility over town. He's going to work them out again, and he's going to have a 7-on-7 again tonight.
Don't tell everybody what's going on.
Oh, I know it. This man got to some Coach Stallings in him. You know, he's got to be prepared, ready to go.
Yeah. What do you think about Broadus' outfit today? He dressed up for us.
This is Dak's charity thing, but again, this is one of the few Alabama men that I will sit next to.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, Dave jumped right off the set when he sat down with the Alabama hat on.
He's one of the best Alabama men I've ever been
Well, I
around.
guess it wouldn't be right if I didn't at least say Roll Tide there.
No, you need it.
Appreciate it.
You know, George, you were at one time in your life, you were one of my favorites, and I don't know about that right now.
Well, I got asked this morning, true story. Someone sent me a text that said, who was the player that knocked off T.O. on the Star? And I told George Teague, that was this morning. It didn't happen all the time, but how often do people bring it up to you?
Very often. See it on Twitter a lot. Anybody that recognizes who I am, they always bring it up. But every now and again, people will argue with me and say it wasn't me and it was Roy Williams.
No. It was you.
I'm sure you've told this story hundreds of times, but what was your mindset when at that moment? What caused you to do that?
So there's the bad piece would be the frustration and the anger because we were getting our tails handed to us.
Absolutely.
A little bit. But when you're intense and full of competitive nature, there's just certain things that can't happen during the game and on the field.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. You're very nice. We got it right here on the. And if I was in the locker room with Woody. Woody got kicked.
He'd already got kicked
Woody
out.
had already got kicked out, and Woody and I were standing there in the locker room watching the game, and this happened, and George got tossed, and then Woody came when George came in. Woody goes, "What happened to you?" And he goes, I ran down T.O. and Woody goes, well, it's about damn time somebody did something.
That's right.
So George, both safeties that game got knocked out, and I remember being in the locker room. George just took off his equipment, that smile, just took a shower and you know what, hey, did what I had to do. But that's how he always played. He did what he had to do.
Well, people forget, though, the next year, in 2001, the Cowboys won that game, and you got a little bit of revenge. I don't know if that seems like revenge enough, but you actually got another couple shots.
Well, somehow it's very weird because the Stars had the line, but we were down here on the goal line. I think it might have been a 4th and 1 play or 3rd and 1 anyway. They were ready to go in and score. And, of course, at that moment, I had to cover Terrell Owens again, one-on-one in the end zone. So I already knew where the ball was going to go to. It's just like it just kind of matched up. But I did win that battle that time.
Have y'all ever talked again? Y'all have any relationship at all?
Man, once T.O. got here, and this is, I respect him. He's a great football player and that kind of stuff, but I did try to, especially when he came to us, I tried to reach out and have some conversation with him on the sideline many other times, but he wouldn't speak to me.
He wouldn't speak to you?
No, sir.
Wow. What do you think about the team this year, and what are your expectations as far as?
I am really, really excited.
Yeah.
I think the offseason moves have been great, bolstering up that offense a little bit more, getting some more weapons for Dak.
Sure.
I was specifically concerned about what we were going to do with defensive line when, we weren't getting done what we needed to get done there. Right. But pulling those new guys in, they're hungry.
Yep.
Ready to go. We're already stacked at, linebacker and that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be a very, very good year for us.
Yeah. George, when you're so involved with your high school stuff and your coaching and stuff like that, but do you have a time? I mean, you mentioned that you kind of are excited about but do you get a chance to follow the team like or is it just you're so locked in to changing young men's lives and that you kind of, man, that was a part of my life, but you know what, I got to focus on my team. But do you still able to look at enough at the games like you want to?
I do. I'm very fortunate that I came to every Cowboy game last year except for one, which was Thanksgiving. So at least do get around around the game and kind of see what's happening and what the moves are. But every day little piece of it, no. I'm kind of into the
really busy
football program.
Yeah.
And then of course I got to squeeze my Alabama guys in there a little bit too. So it's a balancing act. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
George, again, like he can't. He's got to talk about it, but rightfully so. He's right.
Yeah,
he could talk, but that's you got to let him do it.
But no, football is a big
part of his life. Though.
Yes, it is.
Talk about the fact that these young kids. I mean, when you were growing up, probably getting to go to some camps and stuff like this, but the experience these kids get to come here and play in an environment like this, and there's Dak coaching them, and Zeke and Witten and these guys. I mean, do they even understand what they're getting?
No, they're spoiled, man. They're spoiled because you said maybe having a chance to go to camps like this never happened.
Yeah.
Not when I was growing up. We didn't do this. We didn't have these opportunities. Only way you got around named guys was you'd hope that the kids from your high school who were in college came back and you had a chance to work out with them or something. But being around professional athletes and professional coaches, this is like a dream come true. I've told our families at John Paul that this is something they're going to remember forever. They're going to get one chance to do it. They need to learn everything they can from the football piece, but also from the life skills that that Coach Garrett puts into this program. And it's amazing to see how they are changing the kids' lives. They can have fun, compete, but man, when they walk off, and I do ask them, hey, tell me kind of what you learned, not about the football piece, but what else? It's incredible, man. It's really incredible.
That's great. Well, we won't keep you too long, man. We just wanted to talk with you a little bit and let Broadus try to take some jabs at you, but it didn't work.
No,
I think you outboxed him.
No, well, I got one for you. How do I get one of them jackets right there?
One of these? Online. Yeah, just get on the internet and Google plaid jacket.
I'm surprised you don't have a red one like that you wear.
Well,
Coach Stallings used to wear those red jackets on the sidelines there. I'm sure you got one.
Yeah. Well,
you get that. I know you got that red jacket, red body with the white sleeves with a big A on it. I know you got one of those.
I will give you my hat.
I'm not taking that hat, George. I love you. I really do, man. But I tell you what, you can push on right now.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for stopping by, George. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So this is kind of a cool thing that's going on right now. They got the championship game going on in the background. I see Dak and Jalen coaching the white team. Who's coaching the other team?
I don't even know.
Can't even tell.
We need a scouting report from out there.
I think Byron Jones.
We got a nice overview here. If you're
watching,
I'm doing terrible radio right now because if you're listening, you're not seeing the.
Right.
But go back and check it out. And
then there are the other teams that they just showed on the monitor that all the other teams that didn't make the championship game are sitting up in the stands cheering these guys on. So
yeah, I heard about 4 guys from the blue team say they got cheated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like our flag football games.
Oh my goodness.
That we play out here. Somebody always getting cheated out here, in our deals.
If you know about Nick's injury, huh?
No, I saw him happen, and he played through it though.
What's the diagnosis, Nick?
Yeah.
Torn calf.
Yeah, I don't know. They're moving me over here?
Yeah.
All right.
Just step on over. Yeah.
Here.
Be careful. Don't blow your other calf.
I'll hold this for right now.
So how's the leg doing?
Oh, it's fine. It's a sprained calf with a minor tear. It's all right.
I wish I could
good.
see there. I was going to do a play-by-play for you right there. We need Brad Sham here to kind of give us a little overview there. But
we got everybody else's take earlier about going into training camp.
Yeah.
What are you most looking, or what are you going to be watching at camp? What are you most looking forward to?
You know, I still think it comes down to how this offense gets guys open, really utilizes these good players. I mean, it's a great offensive line. I think Dak's really getting better. He looks good in these OTAs. You know what Zeke's going to do. Just how can they utilize Kellen Moore's strengths and say, all right, let's get these guys open. Let's figure this out. And that's one thing that I have seen. I feel like guys are always running open. And I don't know if that's good for the defense or not, but I just feel like it's schemed a little better so far. We'll see. But that's my main thing is, you got the talent. Can they really be efficient and move the ball on offense consistently?
Is this some of the best talent that you've been here? I came with you in 1999, and but as far as you talk about the most talented rosters that they have, where would you in your years rank this with the rosters that you've seen?
I think that this is right up there with the 07 and 08. I think the 2018 was really good, and they went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. That's one thing about this team when you look at Jason Garrett and Wade Phillips and from that era, from about 2007 to 2008. Maybe they can sign that guy. I mean,
that looked like a nice range play for that green team safety right there.
Yeah, I don't know about. Are these supposed to be kids? That guy looks like he was shaving.
I need to go talk to him about going to LSU before George gets him at Alabama. Is really what I need to do.
The one thing about this team that they haven't done well is that they haven't built off success. In 2007, 13-3, supposed to come back in 08. They didn't make the playoffs. With Garrett here in 14 was a really good year. 15 was tragic. 2016 was good. 17 they missed. So here they are again. Can they build off of success?
Yeah, and we're going to have, speaking of success, I don't even know where I was going with that.
Yeah. It sounded like they were.
Lost my
we're toward the end of the. It looks like we're towards the end, and they're all getting together here right now. So.
Close to wrapping this thing.
This thing up. It looks like to me, if I had to guess, Green had the interception, and they were maybe throwing a Hail Mary there. So maybe Gray is our champion here. I'd hate to.
Dak's team. Dak's high-fiving people. Yeah. I think Dak won.
Dak looks happy.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's nice that all these players can get. Again, we keep talking about that, but. There's some bragging rights going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's some serious bragging. I mean, there we go. We get some celebration. Yeah.
The coaches, which are our players, get into this.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some dinner bets going on.
Oh, absolutely.
On this thing, because they really get competitive.
Yeah.
It's a great thing for the kids. And keep an eye out on our social media channels, on our website, our mobile app, and all that stuff, because we're going to have some really great content about this event coming out, some videos. Nick, are y'all writing any stories about today, or is it all going to be video stuff?
We'll have a story.
I'll have Scout's Eye up later on today.
You're going to scout him out?
Scout's Eye up. We'll get a little film.
What's the name of this guy? Be on the lookout for him in college.
Well, the kid just did right there. Does it a backflip, and again, thanks to the Texas Lottery for putting all this together and helping us out.
Great thing that the lottery sponsors this, and just a great thing that Coach Garrett does, and really great for the kids and the players and everything. So again, thanks Beam, thanks Dave, thanks Kent, thanks Scott for helping us put this thing on. Broadus, thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
Nick, thank you. Rob, Dave, thank all you guys for contributing today. And guess we got one more week of shows next week.
Absolutely.
Right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're done for a few weeks, and then off to Oxnard and Hawaii and back, and the season will be here before we know it.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out with us on Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!